There is a moment that happens to almost everyone, and nobody talks about it. You're in a room full of people who know your name, and you still feel like nobody actually knows you. You could disappear from that room right now, and the conversation would continue exactly the same way, without a pause, without anyone noticing the gap where you used to be standing. I think that feeling is one of the loneliest things a human being can carry, and the strange part is, most people carry it while smiling. You have felt this. Maybe not last week, maybe not even last month, but you have felt it, and if you are honest with yourself right now, some part of you is feeling it while you watch this. I am not going to tell you to be more confident, or to talk more, or to work on your personality. I am going to tell you about the one skill almost nobody uses anymore. The skill that decides whether people remember you or forget you the second you walk away. And once you understand it, you will not be able to unsee it in every relationship you have ever had. You know what's strange. We live in the most connected time in human history, and somehow people have never felt more forgettable. You can talk to 50 people in a day and go to sleep feeling like none of them actually saw you. We have turned into background characters in each other's lives, easily replaced, easily swapped out, easily forgotten by Monday. And underneath all of it, there is one need that never goes away, no matter how old you get, no matter how successful you become, no matter how many people surround you. The need to matter. Not to be liked, not to be popular, to matter. To know that your existence actually changed something in someone else's world, even a little. Think about the people who have shaped your life the most. I would guess it is not the people who gave you the best advice. It is the people who made you feel like you were the only person in the room when they were talking to you. That feeling is rare now, and because it is rare, the person who can give it to others becomes almost impossible to forget. Here is a question worth sitting with for a second. When was the last time someone made you feel truly important? Not entertained, not complimented, but important. If you had to think for more than a few seconds, that tells you something about how starved most of us actually are. Most people go through life collecting connections the way you collect notifications. Quick, shallow, disposable. We reply fast, we scroll while someone is talking, we half listen because our mind is already somewhere else. And every single time this happens, a small message gets sent to the other person without a single word being spoken. The message is simple. You are not that important to me right now. Nobody says it out loud, but people feel it in their bones, and it quietly shapes how close they will ever let you get. There was a man years ago, a stranger nobody remembers his name for, who once said something that stuck with me. He said most people do not want to be understood, they want to be witnessed. I sat with that for a long time because it explained something I could never put into words before. Understanding is intellectual. Witnessing is emotional. When someone understands you, they get your point. When someone witnesses you, they feel your weight. And the second one is what people are actually starving for. Think about your own childhood for a moment. If you had siblings, or if you were in a big family, or a big classroom, you probably remember what it felt like to be one of many. Your achievements got a quick glance before attention moved to something else. Your pain got a quick fix before the room moved on. And somewhere in there, a quiet belief formed in a lot of us. The belief that we are replaceable, that our presence is optional, that if we vanished, life would simply continue without a scratch. That belief does not disappear when we grow up. It just gets buried under jobs and relationships and routines, waiting for someone, anyone, to prove it wrong. This is exactly why the skill I am about to show you works so powerfully. It does not try to fix anyone. It does not try to impress anyone. It simply proves, in small, undeniable ways, that a person's existence matters to you. And when someone experiences that, even once, they do not forget it. They come back to it. They come back to you. Before I give you the first move, I want you to notice something happening right now. If any part of what I just said felt like it was describing you specifically, that is not an accident. This is not a coincidence. This is how deeply universal this wound actually is, and it is exactly why almost nobody addresses it directly. So let's fix that. The first move is remembering the specific detail, not the big things. Everyone remembers the big things: a wedding, a new job, a breakup. I am talking about the small detail buried inside an ordinary conversation, the name of someone's dog, the fact that they mentioned being nervous about a phone call on Thursday, the small dream they said out loud once, and probably forgot they even said it. When you bring that detail back weeks later, casually, without making it a big moment, something shifts in the other person immediately. Their brain registers one thing before anything else. This person was actually here with me. Not just present in the room, but present in the moment. Present enough to hold on to something that felt small to everyone except them. Most people think listening is enough. It is not. Listening without retention feels, to the other person, exactly like not listening at all, because they cannot see inside your head. All they have is what you showed them later. So the detail you remember becomes proof, real, tangible proof, that they were not just talking into empty air. I want you to think about the last time someone remembered something small you said. Not something important, something almost forgettable. I would guess you still remember exactly how that felt, and I would guess you liked that person a little more from that moment on, without even realizing why. The second move is harder, and it is the one most people avoid because it costs something. Give someone your full attention without splitting it. Not glancing at your phone while they talk. Not half-formulating your response while they are still speaking. Not nodding while your mind runs ahead to what you want to say next. Full, undivided, uncomfortable presence. It sounds simple, but I think it might be the rarest thing left in modern conversation. Here's why it hits so deep. When you give someone full attention, you are silently telling them, right now, in this exact moment, nothing is more important to me than you. That is an enormous statement to make without saying a single word, and people feel it instantly, even if they cannot explain why the conversation suddenly feels different. On the other hand, when your attention is split, even slightly, people can sense it the way you can sense a slightly cold room. They cannot always name what is wrong, but they know something is missing, and they quietly pull back without even meaning to. I think about how many conversations I used to ruin without realizing it. Checking a screen for 2 seconds, letting my eyes drift, thinking about something completely unrelated while someone was telling me something that actually mattered to them. I was not a bad person. I just did not understand that presence is not passive. It is a decision made again and again, every single time someone speaks to you. You know, there is something uncomfortable about full presence, and I think that is exactly why people avoid it. When you fully focus on someone, you cannot hide behind distraction anymore. You have to actually be there, with your discomfort, your impatience, your own unresolved thoughts, all of it. Most people would rather split their attention than sit fully present with another human being, because full presence forces you to feel things you would rather scroll past. The third move is the one that changes relationships permanently, and it is this. Let people see the impact they had on you. Not flattery, not empty compliments, actual impact. If something someone said changed how you think about a situation, tell them. If a story they shared moved you, let them see it on your face instead of hiding it behind a neutral expression. Most people go through entire friendships never knowing they actually changed something in the other person, because the other person kept their reaction locked inside, afraid it would seem too much, too intense, too vulnerable. Here is what happens when you finally let someone see their impact on you. It flips something. Suddenly, they are not just a participant in the conversation, they are a cause. They caused a shift in you. And once someone realizes they have that kind of effect on another human being, something in them settles, something that has probably been unsettled since childhood, the quiet fear of being forgettable, of being optional, of being background noise in everyone else's story. I remember watching this play out with someone I barely knew. I told them, honestly, that something they said months earlier had stayed with me and quietly changed how I handled a difficult situation. Their whole posture changed. Their voice changed. It was such a small sentence from me, and it clearly meant more to them than anything I could have bought or done for them. That is when I understood how starved people actually are for proof that they matter beyond the moment they are standing in. I think what surprised me the most, once I started using all three of these together, was not how people reacted to me. It was how much closer people started letting me into their lives. People started telling me things they said they had never told anyone. Not because I asked the right questions, but because I had already proven in small, consistent ways that their existence was not background noise to me. But here is the part almost nobody talks about, and it is the part that ties everything together. None of this works as a technique. The moment someone senses you are performing significance instead of actually feeling it, the entire thing collapses. People can tell the difference between someone pretending to care about the details of their life and someone who is genuinely paying attention because they actually care. You cannot fake presence for long. You cannot fake remembering someone's world for long. Eventually, the performance cracks, and when it does, the damage is worse than if you had never tried at all. So the real question underneath all of this is not what techniques you use. It is whether you are willing to actually care about the people in front of you enough to notice them, hold on to pieces of them, and let them affect you. That is uncomfortable for a lot of people because caring, real caring, requires you to be affected. It requires you to let someone matter enough that their words actually land somewhere inside you instead of bouncing off. I think this is why so many people stay lonely even while surrounded by others. Not because they lack social skills in the traditional sense, but because they never learned this one specific thing, the difference between being present in a room and being present with a person. You can master small talk, you can be funny, you can be interesting, and still leave every single person you talk to feeling exactly as forgettable as they felt before they met you. Once you understand the skill, you start noticing its absence everywhere. You will notice it in conversations where someone is technically listening but clearly waiting for their turn. You will notice it in relationships where you feel cared for on the surface, but strangely alone underneath it. And once you notice it in others, you cannot unsee it in yourself either. All the times you were physically present but completely absent from someone who needed you to actually be there. Here is what I want you to walk away with. You do not need to become the most talkative person in a room. You do not need to have the best advice or the most interesting stories. You need to become the person who makes others feel like their existence registered somewhere, that they were not invisible for the time they spent with you. That single shift changes how people experience you completely. They stop remembering you as someone they talked to. They start remembering you as someone who actually saw them. Start small. Pick one person this week. Remember one detail they mention, no matter how small it seems in the moment. Give them your full attention for just one conversation, no distractions, no half listening. Let them see, even once, that something they said actually changed something inside you. Watch what happens to how they treat you afterward. You will notice it almost immediately, a shift in how open they become, how much closer they let you in, how much more they trust you with the parts of themselves they usually keep hidden. Because in the end, the thing people remember is not what you said to them. It is how you made them feel like they existed, fully, undeniably, in a world that keeps treating almost everyone like they are replaceable. Be the person who proves that belief wrong, even for one person, even just once, and you will understand exactly why this skill, quiet as it is, changes absolutely everything.